Hello and welcome to this being Space Pirates and Zombies 2, which is currently in early access, so this is a pre-release video of it. I'm a fan of the original Space Pirates and Zombies, so bear that in mind when I talk about this. This game is very much different. You probably won't be able to tell immediately just from, looking at what's going on in the background here, but apart from the fact that it is now 3D instead of two-dimensional. If you played the original, it was a top-down ordeal, whereas this is it's pseudo 3D, because the ships technically can maneuver in 3D, and you will have ships above and below you, but the motherships themselves are stuck to a two-dimensional plane. So if you look closely, all of those ships are on the same z-axis, if you're knowledgeable on that. But currently this is version 0.7. I will have another video, slightly more information probably, maybe, I don't know, when the game is actually released, but for now, just wanted to talk about it. It's quite fun, I enjoy it. I've beaten the campaign as it is now. I've not touched Sandbox. The biggest difference is, as you can tell by here, there are factions in a Mount and Blade style setup. So there's essentially an overmap or a world map or whatever that the factions exist on, and all of that plays out. So we can. This is the first time I've looked at Sandbox. The campaign has everything set up in a very specific way, and everything plays out in a specific way. We can make bandits basically non-existent, perks per level. All? Let's put it on all, just because video. Zombie timer. 30 minutes on the world map to manifest is not 0 minutes. Never. Let's start off with, like, relatively high strengths here and have the zombies start off right away just because we can. Asteroid chances, all this stuff you can change. Ignore player level. You will never be attacked. Level up speed real fast because video. Starting level. We'll just leave it at 0 for now. And we'll go ahead and get in here. Put it on normal.
Currently we use computer synthesized voices for the main cast.
This is of important note here. All of the main cast voice acting are computer synthesized. You can turn them off so they say nothing if you prefer right now. This does not affect chatter, inside battle or anything like that, so just keep that in mind. Like so. Anyway, it doesn't matter for the purpose of this video because they won't be saying very much, so here is the meat of the game. Here is the galaxy as it is. I do not believe that this galaxy ever changes, but I could be mistaken on that. You cannot simply urinate in the corner if you're curious. Bunch of stuff we'll talk about anyway. And when you start off in a zone. You have no idea what's in the rest of these, but using WASD or right-clicking, we can traverse. We'll get experience points for exploring and stuff, and we can see that there are some freelance pilots over here. You can see their threat level, their actual level. We can't build star bases yet. If I fly over to one, we can show that. Darkness looms, apparently. So you must be level 12 to start your own faction. You can build star bases for other factions if you desire. We don't have the currency for that. There's also wreckages that you can get currency and loot from. Generally, these are either randomly spawned or come from actual encounters. I think all the ones at the start are obviously randomly spawned, but any past that are from fights. There's also other places you can interact with lore if you want to read the lore. Bandit hives you can fight and they will migrate somewhere else to leave your convoys alone and stuff like that. Scrap piles, res, asteroids, res fields, all that jazz. We'll go over the UI here real quick. For those of you unfamiliar with the game, res is your In the original game, it was your only real resource. You had res and you had goons. Res in this game is your fuel, primarily. That's effectively pretty much all res does. You can trade it to people for favor and stuff like that. But primarily your res is your fuel. If you run out of res, you will burn goons, I guess throwing them into the engines. Goons effectively allow you to disinfect your ship, allow it to operate at all, etc., etc. You can trade goons as well. And scrap is your primary currency in this game, which didn't exist in the original game. Scrap is basically money. You trade scrap for purchasing items and stuff like that. So it's basically your dollar dues. This is how many cores you can have. We'll talk about that in a second. And this is just the time to infection, which I have greatly reduced, so they will be there shortly. And this is your XP bar, levels, etc. Here's your inventory. We don't care about that. You start off the game with a super derpy ship. This is it right here, with a bunch of junk parts that are worth absolutely nothing and have terrible stats, so you want to try and replace those as quickly as you can. Speed burns more res. If you go fast like this, will burn no res. This is Zombie Outbreak. But this will burn a little bit, this will burn a lot, etc. Strikecraft, we don't have any. Strikecraft are... If you played the original game, they are effectively the ships that you controlled in the original. They are AI controlled now. You control the mothership. If you didn't, they're basically fighter craft that will float around and assist you, that are relatively weak but still useful. Here are the factions. There's the zombies. The zombies, at this point, considering I've spawned them immediately into the game, are going to be unstoppable and will consume the universe. But the factions will wage war with each other, they will do all that stuff. I do not believe they will make alliances. The only person that can make alliances, I believe, is the player. So you can make alliances with all the other factions, and then they will sort themselves out. But, you know, there's a lot of dudes floating around. Then we have Captain Info, if you want to, you know, read stuff about yourself, I guess, if you feel like it. Shopping. You can either shop by flying to things, or you can get it sent to you for extra scrap. Lore, tutorials, etc. But assemble ship is the important part. We're going to close that. Essentially, as you level up, you'll be able to use more active cores, which are these little center parts. So if we plop those off, these are essentially the building blocks of your ship. Everything else attaches to the cores. Other cores, the engine, the nose, which is that little dongly-do up there, wings, which are these things, and all of that jazz will attach to your cores. That's actually not the core, this is a core. There you go. Sub-core, as it were. That's the actual mothership, don't worry about that. You always have that, it's required. It's got sweet flags on it, though. Anyway. You have parts like engines, wings, left and right wings like these. They'll have different weapons. These all, I believe, have micro blasters is what you start with. Micro emitter, micro missile. They're garbage. They're not going to do much of anything. But it's what we've got when you start, so you can't really do much about that. But anyway, they'll all have different weapons: blasters, lasers, leech beams, missiles, torpedoes, large warheads that cause black holes and consume the universe and stuff like that, as well as fighter and drone bays and things like that for much larger parts. They take up different amounts of slots. For instance, these basic ones, these are called small parts. These only take up one, so you can plop it in like that. But there are other parts that would take up two, so you'd have to take off both of these to apply that part. Those are generally more exotic weapons and stuff. But basically, this is the meat of the game. For instance, don't float away. We can detach this thing. Maybe we wanted it over there. We can now have two nose pieces with a very oddly shaped ship. We don't have another nose piece, so it doesn't matter for us. I will show you in more detail the building later, but that's kind of what you do. It's a Lego ship, essentially that you build and then take around and shoot laser beams at other people, which we will do shortly as a demonstration. Man, lore. So this is the meat of the game. I'm not going to show you the lore. It gives you resources and stuff. This is the meat of the game. You float around, you fight some dudes, you try and make your mark on the universe, as it were. And basically you do this. Now we can try and find someone. Like that guy's threat 6. He's a slightly higher threat level than we are, but maybe we can do something. He's threat 13. I kind of want to find someone who's like really low, but I don't think there's going to be anyone as low as me, so... Wait, what are you? You're 8. So we're probably just going to float around for a little bit here. We'll try and do level up just so you guys can see what happens when you level up. I would prefer to do it via fighting, but... Well, you're 6 and you already hate me, so... I mean, we could fight bandits. But we'll go ahead and fight this guy. Other captains remember things, etc., etc. A22. That's a thing, I suppose. So we can demand surrender if we are powerful enough and they'll just give us loot and then run away. We're not powerful enough, so we'll just go ahead and head into a fight. They have a higher threat level than us, which means they have a slightly better ship. They also have a strike craft, so we'll have to worry about that because we don't have any strike crafts. And then the period where it's sat like that, other ships can join in on the fight, so you can have a maximum of 4 total motherships in any given fight, which is a fair amount of ships. So we're gonna try our best here. We can boost our shield by pushing space. Reduces the damage and allows it to regen faster, but we cannot shoot while it is doing that, so... We can also hold shift to boost and go real fast like. That just drains the little boost energy over in the bottom right over there. It also shows our speed. Now he is a higher threat level than us and he has already broken through our shield because of that fighter that he had. I'm trying to... I could probably do more damage actually if I didn't point the broadside at him because of the way the starting ship is built. And another thing that's new in this game is that you have essentially ammo. You saw we were actually reloading there. And yeah, I can't actually point all of the guns at whatever I'm shooting at, so we'll just keep it kind of broadside. We'll try and keep some range here. Maybe that'll help, but he's probably going to end up killing us here because I decided to pick a fight with someone who's stronger than me, but we'll see what we can do. I could back off and recharge my shield, but that allows him to recharge his shield as well, which does me no good. There's also that thing over there with the little swirly icon. That'll allow you to flee the battlefield. We may actually win this fight because of what just happened there. We'll see. You can flee the battlefield via that, but it costs you resources when you flee. So now, what just happened that caused me to say we might actually win this is a piece of his ship broke off, which is a thing that happens in this game. Unfortunately, it's just his nose piece. No, we're gonna win this fight. It looks like. Yeah, just barely though. You can break off pieces of your enemy's ship, and there are... Oh, we're dead. Oh, no, we live. And then you can take those pieces of their ship, but also, essentially it's great because it just cuts off weapons and stuff like that very easily. And we shouldn't have really won that, but whatever. So we can go ahead and leave. We're not going to really care about this. We can steal all of his stuff. He didn't actually drop very much, but hey, it's better than nothing. And we'll get a bunch of XP because I have boosted the rate at which we level. And when you level, on some levels, he's a very excited man. I'm not sure about the art, but whatever. Some levels you get a part size increase. So small parts connect quality parts to your mothership. No need to use any more junk parts. So now we can use normal parts that have a cost associated with them. But you'll also get core count increases and stuff like that. But you also get to choose a perk. And this is apparently the selection it has given me. I think this is everything. It should be everything. You get shield strength, weapon damage, trading. These are all just passive buffs, but you can also get active strikecraft and reserve strikecraft increases, so you can have more of them on the field and more come in and stuff like that. So generally speaking, weapon damage is always king. And now, if we wanted to, because he's left a wreckage there, we can now harvest from this wreckage and get some resources, and if there were parts left there, we could also get some parts. I kind of want to see if we can find the zombies, because they're somewhere. But it might be a little hard, because they're not going to be very large yet, because not a whole lot has happened. So we're just going to speed boost. This is going to drain my resources like crazy, but I want to see if we can find the zombies real quick. Because it is, after all, space pirates and zombies, so they are an important part of this whole shebang. And these are all the factions. They will war with each other, they will fight, they will build stations, they'll raid each other, etc., etc. I don't think we're going to find the zombies. Zombies are very dangerous. They will take over territory very quickly, as well as take over pilots very quickly. This is another faction. Yeah. Hey, I leveled up. Just from flying around, I guess. Yeah, sure, whatever. Or is it no weapon damage? Alright, whatever. So they'll expand and, you know, fight each other and take each other's territory as the game goes on. They will also get brutally murdered by the zombies, because the zombies expand much more aggressively. The zombies really don't defend their own territory so much as just kill everyone in the, you know, close proximity to them. I don't think we'll keep flying around for a bit. There's not going to be much more left of this video anyway, so we'll try and find the zombies just so I can show you them. It's looking like they're probably over on the right. And I realize I missed a square, or a zone over there. And we're out of fuel, which is going to make this awkward. And this is why you gather fuel when you're scooting around the universe instead of just scooting around the universe. So when you run out of fuel, you're forced to the slowest speed, and it will also start killing off goons. The bigger your ship, the faster your resources burn. There's the zombies. So you'll notice, despite them only recently having popped up, they already have someone who's 29 and someone who's 31. And they have already killed someone because they're picking up resources there. Let's go ahead and they're gonna go fight that guy. They're very powerful, and they win the vast majority of the fights they actually start. So they are dangerous, and they are somewhere around here. There's their base. So they only just started. They've got a level 106 base, because that's how the zombies work. And they've already taken over Java Jugs, apparently, and Candy Dan, and Robogasser. These are all pilots that used to be neutral, that are now zombies. They become infected, they will expand the zombie control over here. They already have multiple star bases. And if we were to fight them, they would very, very rapidly murder us. So, and they'll expand pretty quickly. That's basically the gist of it. You fly around, you scoot around, the zombies show up, you fight zombies, you build your own faction up, and stuff like that. And we're gonna go ahead and back out to the main menu so I can load into a different game. Should be this quick save, I believe, because I don't name my saves because I'm an idiot. Yep, here we go. So this is my campaign, and this is after I've defeated the zombies. You can tell I'm quite a high level, got a lot of goons and all that jazz. And the blue is my faction. My faction is allied with several other factions, but you can see I've got my own dudes. These are all my faction. They're fighting pirates and stuff for me. There will be trade convoys going around, like this guy, as well as wherever mine is. These are all my star bases. I own these. So we can go there and pick up resources. We can also purchase stuff from them. The capital also sends out a transport, which I don't have the faintest idea where it is, unless that's it. Yeah, there it is. So it sends out a special transport that collects taxes and stuff like that. It's also worth a lot if you fight and defeat a capital transport, but the enemy tends to defend those. But you can see, you know, there's raids going on. That's what these little things are and all that. And I'm going to go ahead and show you slightly more advanced shipbuilding because this is a much higher level. So for instance, we can go ahead and plop down, you know, some parts here. I'm just going to loosely build a relatively simple ship here. In fact, this is going to be a suboptimal ship because of how I want this laid out, but because I specifically want 3 up front and then 3 in the back and 6 on the sides, which means I have to have these hollow bits in the center of the ship. And parts get a synergy bonus when they're attached to other subcores. So you can see those are only 10, but this guy's 40. It can go up to 100. But that's alright. So, you know, we've got bomb fighters, attack fighters, laser fighters. Those are bomb fighters. We've got SRMs, torpedoes. I think there's ion beams and ion SRMs over here. We don't want the beams, I don't believe, do we? Maybe we do. I don't know, let's just take the beams. And we'll just do something loosely like that. And then my engine back here's got some more fighters. And, you know, this is an alright ship. So we can head back to the star map, and there's our threat of 119. And let's go find some pirates to harass, shall we? Let's go blow up this base. Because why not, I suppose. If we can actually float along over here. Takes us a while. Also, you can see we burn a lot of res because we're a very large ship. But we can go ahead and we can fight this bandit hive to end the video. And there's all of my little assistant strikecraft dudes doing their strikecraft things. So they'll float around, you can control them. For instance, we can tell them to go there. We can hold E to tell them to regroup. This also controls my drones, which are these little tiny dudes floating around me. Now before I deal with that starbase over there, I want to try and get rid of this guy, so we'll tell my fighters and my strikecraft to fight him. And because of how this ship is set up, all of my offensive weaponry is on the right side. It's also all iron, ion, that's what it's called. So we will quickly rip through his shields if I face the correct side of my ship to him, which we have already done, and then my strikecraft and fighters will deal with the rest. This is only a threat 45, it's the highest bandits can go, so as you can see they are literally 0 threat to me. We'll just kind of exist and let things die. Now the huge advantage to fighters and bombers is that unlike other weapons, if I boost my shields, they still do stuff. They'll fly around, they'll shoot stuff, they'll fire their lasers, etc., etc. So it makes you very, very capable defensively. But unlike, say, a laser or something like that, they can and frequently do get shot down by miniguns and stuff like that that shoot down missiles, because they shoot down fighters as well. So we're just going to fly in here, rip through its shields like so, because that's what ion is good for. Now you can shoot certain ion, not all of them, certain ion weapons at any target. However, they will do basically 0 damage unless it's shields. And it's the same way for stuff like cannons that do really high armor and hull damage but do little shield damage. So also when stuff explodes, if I can show it off, there you go. You see by everything else exploding. When stuff explodes, it does proximity explosion damage. Stuff like that. There was a warhead that went off over here. It's dissipating before I could get to it, but stuff like that. The zombies are gone, so I can't show you high-end zombie fighting, but, you know, I'll leave that to Spoiler Town, I suppose. There's zombies. You already knew there were zombies. You don't know what it's like to fight them, though. But anyway, this is Space Pirates and Zombies 2. It's a very different game. But I'm enjoying it. I don't know how much replayability it necessarily has, and of course it is not finished. There are some things that could be improved upon. But as it stands now, I'm enjoying myself. You guys probably, someone out there might enjoy it as well, but you can see this guy's gonna float off over there now, because I keeled him. Anyway, thanks for watching. That's this. I believe it is $30 on Steam. It's either $20 or $30. Don't quote me on the price. There will be a link in the description. You can check yourself. There you go. Thanks for watching. See you guys next time.